Hey everybody, it's Pedal Guy here. How you doing? So I asked a question on my social channels a couple of days ago. What would you like to see me cover next with the Mighty Plug Pro? And the two answers I got were recording and live streaming. And in this video, I'm going to show you how to record. But before we get to it, take a second, click on the subscribe button, give me a thumbs up, help my channel grow so I can make more NUX content for you. Well, this is a very easy thing to do, and I've done this with a lot of the other NUX products on my channel here, so this is just going to take a couple of minutes. But what you want to do first is you want to go to the NUX website and you want to download the editor, and you also want to make sure that you download and install the latest firmware on the Mighty Plug Pro. And also, if you're on Windows, you do need to download the ASIO driver. It only takes a couple of minutes to do this, and it will probably require a restart on your computer after it's all done. But once you're ready to go, doesn't matter what DAW you use. In this case today, I'm going to be using Reaper. I'm going to show you how to set it up and record in just a couple of minutes. Let's get to it. Assuming that you've downloaded and installed all of the relevant software for the Mighty Plug Pro, and that you've plugged it in by way of USB-C, it's now time to configure it to be used as an audio interface. And we're going to use the Mighty Editor app in order to make that possible. So I'm going to go to the Mighty Editor app, which looks a lot like the editor app on your phone. And I've already done a live stream on how that works. But what we want to do for this demonstration is we want to go to the upper right corner to the little gear icon. That's the settings icon, and we want to launch the settings window. So from here, there's two things we want to make sure about. First up, we want to make sure that the recording level is set to 0. That way it avoids any possibility of digital distortion, because definitely you do not want that when you're recording. So the other thing you want to do is make sure that your routing mode is set to normal. You have three modes here: normal, reamp, and dry out. And by default, normal should be selected, but you just want to double check and make sure for sure. Okay, so in this case now we're ready to go ahead and click OK. And we can now go to our DAW. In this case, I'm using Reaper, and I'm going to show you how to set that up as an audio interface. So I've now got my guitar plugged in, I've got my DAW loaded up, and what I want to do at this point is I first want to go to the setup window here, and I want to make sure that everything's set up appropriately, that I'm using ASIO in this case, that I'm using the NUX audio driver, and that I've got the right inputs and outputs assigned. Now, I've already gone ahead and set this up prior to, but that's how you would set it up in pretty much any DAW you're working with. Every one of them has its own ins and outs, its own methodologies, but essentially that's what you want to do. Now, assuming that you've made all those connections and all those configurations correctly, you just go and you want to arm the track. And at this point now, you should see a signal from the Mighty Plug Pro, which we can see right there. Now, what you do want to do here though, is for the best performance, I really recommend making sure that you turn your record monitoring to off. You'll still hear what's coming through the Mighty Plug Pro in real time, but you won't hear any slapback or any delay coming from the DAW, and that's what's called latency. So at this point now, we have a nice strong signal. So if I start recording, I can just record something really quick and dirty. And that's essentially how you record. But I know at this point you're asking yourself the question, what about the drum machine? What if you want to record the drum machine from the Mighty Plug Pro into a track? I'm going to show you exactly how to do that now. So let's say you want to record, say, the drum machine from the Mighty Plug Pro into a track on your DAW. It's very simple to do. What we want to do is we want to go back to the editor, go to that settings icon up there in the upper right corner, and we want to do a couple things here. First, what we want to do is we want to select loopback, and what this will do is it'll loop the audio back into your DAW. It's just an internal routing option that you can use. And what we can also do is go to the recording level, and I'm going to turn it up just a little bit because the drum machine tends to be a little bit on the quiet side. So what we'll do now is go over to the drum machine, and I'm going to start playing it. So you can hear it at this point. And if I go back onto the DAW window here, let's go ahead and switch scenes. You don't see any signal coming through yet. And that's because we haven't armed the track for recording. So let's go over to the DAW. Let's arm it, and there you go. We got a nice strong signal coming in. So if I want, I could just go ahead and hit record, and it's going to go ahead and record a track. And you could do this with like a backing track if you want to. You can record the backing track in. There's a couple little tricks to it, and I'll probably have to explain that in another tutorial down the road. But for right now, if you want to just get the drum machine recorded onto a track and then jam over it really quick, you can do that. So I'll go ahead and hit stop now. And you can see that we're still hearing it, and it's still playing back. Let's go ahead and disarm that track. What I need to do is go back to the editor again, and I need to turn off the drum machine. And at that point now, I'm ready to go ahead and start working with the track here that I've created. So I could just go ahead and play it back if I wanted to. It's pretty straightforward, right? And if I wanted to, say, record another track over it, you've already learned how to do that in the previous part of this tutorial, so this should really be a snap for you. But that's just the bare bone basics of recording the Mighty Plug Pro onto a track in your DAW. All right, so that wraps up this video. I hope you found it helpful. Come on back for the next video where I'll discuss how to live stream with the Mighty Plug Pro, and we will see you soon.